new chapter hasn't really begun already. So last week we talked about the chapter review and the path and the way. Last week we talked about all the way from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 12. It was actually a very brief review. If any review at all, it was actually a summarize of what past chapters 1 through 12 have been talking about. And it was talking about establishing faith and belief through various ways, through various analogies, through various stories, through various ways to establish the faith to believe that this is how the path we should walk, to believe that what we should do to achieve what we need to achieve. So that's what chapters 1 through 12 have been trying to do, whether it was through different type of parables or through different type of asking and answering. It's all about trying to get us to believe the faith, get us to believe that what we're walking on, the path that we're walking on is the right path. And also the path that we're walking on is going to the right direction. So that's what chapter 1 through 12 was actually trying to do. Okay, so very quickly, and the faith, what is this faith? It's talking about the faith in the true suchness, that we all have it. The path that we're walking on, because we know what we should do. We have the Buddha nature that's already in the intrinsic Buddha nature that we have. It's already there. So for us, it's the reappearing. It's the reappearing of the Buddha nature. It's not to sort of get it. You already have it. So the idea is the faith in the thing that we already have, and to also understand that this is something that we need to make it appear. We need to make it show again, because getting rid of the afflictions. So the faith that also that everyone and absolutely everyone can be enlightened. So it's not just somebody else that can be enlightened. You always look at everybody else and say that they can be enlightened, but not me. But rather, on the other hand, it's more about everyone having the faith that you, I, everybody, we can all be enlightened. And not only that, but that we can be enlightened. But before we can be enlightened, we need to pass on the Dharma. We need to continue this Dharma. And how do we continue the Dharma? We have the responsibility to pass this Dharma to other people, whether through our doing, whether through our actions, our words, or everything that we do. Everything that we that we do actually sends out a signal to everybody to tell them who we are, and that who is the Dharma, so that other people will be curious. They see what they see, they like what they see, and then they're curious, and then they will try to follow what you do and what you're trying to do. And that's how we can continue the Dharma. We preach, we talk about it, we do it, and we do it so that other people would follow. Faith in that not only are we going to be enlightened, but also we are going to have the responsibility to continue this Dharma. And even after 2,500 years had passed since the Buddha had passed away. Okay, so, and then we move on to chapter 13. It goes into the difficulties and challenges. And in chapter 13, it's important to note that this chapter was spoken mostly by the disciples, the bodhisattvas, that they are the ones that experience difficulties. And therefore, they are the ones that says, there are these problems, and yes, we make the vow, but it's going to be so difficult because the people of today, the people of the future, the sentient beings of the future, where the bodhisattvas have made the vow to pass the Dharma to teach the Dharma, to tell them to how to be enlightened. These sentient beings that's talking about us, these sentient beings are essentially very, very difficult. They are going to pose a huge challenge to how the bodhisattvas can actually transform them to be bodhisattvas as well. And so chapter 13 was mostly talking about that they are devoted, that they are going to do this. The bodhisattvas have made the vow. They aspire to teach the Dharma to these sentient beings and also help them. But it's going to be very difficult. And so chapter 13 mostly reflects how difficult it is. And chapter 14 is Buddha's way of replying that, yes, it's difficult, but you make it sound so hard. You make it sound very, very, very difficult. It is difficult, but there are ways. There are ways that we can make this journey and practice to be very, very peaceful and very, very joyous. Peaceful as in the inner side, right? Inside feels peaceful, and you feel joyous when you're doing these things. And therefore, on this journey, it might be very difficult and full of challenges, but you are still going to be able to overcome all of that. So that's what chapter 14 says. Now, because the Buddha explained chapter 14 how we can find the peace and joy in the practices while becoming and while on the path to be enlightened. Chapter 15, there are a lot more bodhisattvas. They are emerging from the earth to respond, to show support that, yes, that is true. This is the path that we walk on. This is the path that we have been on, and it's difficult, but if we follow the teachings, if we do what Buddha had told us with courage and confidence, we will be able to do this. And so the emerging from the earth, it symbolizes that these people, these bodhisattvas that were already there, and because they hear the teachings from the chapter 14, then all of these wisdom life, each one of them represents the wisdom life. It's not the body itself that comes out from the ground, but rather it's the wisdom life that upon hearing that, their wisdom grows from, and it breaks through the ground that the seed was in. It breaks through and begin to sprout and begin to take life. So that's what emerging from the earth means. It doesn't mean just that the bodhisattvas emerges from the ground, but it also means the courage to break free, the confidence that the wisdom life is going to break free from the grab of the earth and begin to show, or the intrinsic Buddha nature is beginning to show, uncover and unearth by all these encouragement. So all this is what from chapter 15. So 1 through 12 talks about believe, have faith that we all have it, and have faith that that we can all be enlightened, but also be responsible to pass this teaching, to more people. And 13 tells you how difficult it is. 14 tells you it is difficult, but it's not so difficult if you follow the way. And that's the truth. You know, a lot of times you see something that was performed very, very difficult, right? And then you go like, well, I would never be able to do that. But along comes a teacher or somebody who is a benefactory friend who tell you that if you follow this, it's actually doable. And yes, the very following is the actual difficult part. You know, you have to actually persevere. But if you follow the teaching, if you follow what was said and what was needed to be done, then you can actually do this. And therefore, on chapter 15, the confidence, the courage, finally make our wisdom life break free, and we have emerged from the earth. Now, chapter 16, Buddha calls on for more faith, that understanding that this is not just happening in this lifetime. This wisdom life that emerges is not just happening right now. In fact, this has been happening over and over and over again. It's throughout a very long period of time. So for the Buddha himself, it has already been happening countless times. So it wasn't this lifetime in the form of a prince that he was enlightened. No, he had been enlightened for many lifetimes. And he had been with us all this time. It's not just right now. It's not just the 49 years that we had seen the Buddha. So it's the same idea to say that we also have been going through this throughout the same time. Chapter 1 through 15 are all talking about this. And chapter 16 tells you that this thing has been repeating itself. You are actually growing. You are not where you are today by coincidence. That's because in the past lifetimes, you have already earned, you already break free from the previous hold, and you are growing more and more. So that's what chapter 16 says. The lifespan of the Tathagata tells you that the intrinsic Buddha nature, the Buddha was already enlightened long ago, not this lifetime. It reflects that we also have been doing this for a long time. But chapter 17 tells you that, but why is there a difference? If we have been doing this for a long time, then why is Buddha where he is and we are where we are? It was so different. Well, that's because everybody does it differently. Same path, but somebody walks faster, somebody runs, somebody jogs. So who gets there first? Who gets there first, right? It's the race between, it's the rabbit and the turtle, right? It's the race between the rabbit and the turtle. Some rabbit, they jump, they just hop and they go really quick. The turtle really walks really slowly, right? But why is there distinct merits and virtue? Because while some goes faster and some goes slower, but some, just get tired and go sleep at the side and forgot about the race all by itself, and then just lags behind. And while the turtle is very slow, it just keeps on climbing forward and eventually, surpasses the rabbit. Or if the rabbit is very, very diligent, hops even even further and goes even faster away. Or if the turtle is being slow and is also being very, very sloppy and also just, continue to get rest, to rest and not move along. So all these are the reasons why we all have distinct merits and virtues. And that's just to tell us that yes, we all have the intrinsic Buddha nature, but the merits and virtues are different because we take different steps in spiritual cultivation and achieve different levels of merits and virtues. So it's trying to tell us again, yet you can get there. The differences that you see between the sages, the saints, and we ordinary beings are caused by ourselves. And we all have been doing the same thing. Master Cheng is doing the same thing that we're doing, and Buddha has been doing the same thing that we're doing. It's just that they do it better because they're more diligent, they're more focused, and we sometimes lose focus and we just go away, or we just just sleep for the whole day and we forgot about that we're here to cultivate. We forgot about why we're here. So that's why they're the distinct merits and virtues. In another word, it's to tell us that it's to show again the faith that we are the same, except we don't follow the teachings diligently. That's why the differences are. So that's 1 to 17 in a very, very brief nutshell, in a very, very brief summarize of what was said. And the reason why it was done last time was because we're hoping that everybody can remember 1 through 17 and very quickly understand the logic from 1 through 17. So that when we begin chapter 18, hopefully soon, then we will be able to maintain that logic and understanding. Yes, we have the intrinsic Buddha nature. Yes, it's already within us. We have the idea, we have the responsibility to pass this Dharma. It's difficult, but if we follow this path, we can get there too. And it's not just now. We've been doing this for a long time. But the reason why we're different, even though we all have the same Buddha nature, the reason why we're different is because we all take different steps. Somebody takes 3 steps and rest. Somebody takes 3 steps and move back 2 steps. So that's why we're different. We're at different levels, and that's how we need to continue on. So that was what was talked about last week. And also we talked about the path and the way. We talk about the faith and courage. And this is something that I want to stress again. It's very important. Having the faith is important. Believing that this is the right path, because it will give you the strength. Most importantly, it gives you the courage. The courage to do what? The courage to be able to reflect and look at yourself and make sure and know that this is the right path. And further, the courage to look at yourself and reflect to others and say, this is what I have gone through, and you should believe it too. You should look at the stories and you should trust and have faith too. The same idea goes in Tzu Chi. So we are seeing in the past week or so, there might be flurries of rumors, of things related to Dai TV, of things related to politics, of things related to many, many things that usually are not associated with Tzu Chi. Do you have the faith, or are you going to be shaken and think about, well, yeah, I think what they said about Tzu Chi, about Dai TV is right. Perhaps we are yielding to some unknown or unseen pressure or whatnot, okay, or whatever. So the faith is, whatever we're going to do, it remains the same. It never changes, right? So in 1991, when Master believed that we need to go to China to help those people, right? 1991, there were mounting protests. There were mounting criticism coming against Master. But she still did it because she had the faith. She knew and she believed that the path was right. She had the courage to continue this path because she knew it was right. And she persevered to make sure to show people that this was the right thing to do. So right now, it's the same idea. The faith is, the direction is, we want to purify, 人心净化. We want to purify the hearts. We want to purify away all the afflictions. And we want to find the harmony, to achieve harmony in the society. And therefore, we can bring about a world of no disaster. That direction never changed. No matter what we do now, no matter how many schools there are, no matter how many hospitals we have built, the direction never changes, okay? And that requires courage to show people that, no, I haven't changed, and this is how I'm going to do it. And therefore, from there, it's the same idea as knowledge and wisdom. You need to know how to do this, and the how becomes the wisdom. And this idea is that we're encouraging everybody to be expounder of the Dharma, to have the courage to explain to people that don't understand, to have the courage to protect it when other people question or when other people come to try to harm or attack it. And we have to be the carrier of the Dharma. We ourselves will embody it. That's how we can expound and protect it, by carrying it with us, because the Dharma itself embodies in us. So that's what the faith and the courage is trying to do. Having the faith sets your direction right. Having the courage makes you protect and makes you carry it, even though in the environment, in the external, externally there are pressure, there are things that try to sway you one way or the other. You must be the embodiment of the Dharma, of the teaching, so that you will be able to explain it, you'll be able to protect it, you'll be able to carry it. So that's what the faith and courage is talking about. And it's even more so important in today's world when there are many, many, many things going on. So just like this sapling, that it's really the seedling, it's really, really coming to break free from the hold of the ground. It's beginning to see and feel the touch of the air, and it's beginning to feel the sunlight. But because of that, it's going to expose itself to all the external elements. Is it going to have the strength enough to be able to withstand all of that? So that's what we talked about last week. And I spent half the time talking about that because this week we're going to be focused more on the questions that were asked. And I sort of grouped them together. Okay, so this week we're going to be talking about getting to know Buddha and Master. Yeah, getting to know them like they're your friends. No, well, no, they are. And in fact, they are yourself. Buddha is, we all have it in us. The Buddha nature, we all have it in us. And in essence, we all share that. We all share that commonality, that we all have that Buddha nature. But we need to get to know that. What is that? And also get to know Master. What is she trying to tell us, and what is she trying to teach us? So trying to use the questions to allow us to be able to see to be able to see the to be able to get to know Buddha and Master more. So the question that was asked: how can Buddha be at the same level or same wavelength of the universe? Is it meditation or part of the way that brought his mind to that level? Because Buddha emphasizes on still thoughts or etc. Okay, or meditation. So get to know Buddha. Well, how can Buddha be at the same level and same wavelength of the universe? So I remember Master talked about, and this is something that Master talks about over and over before, that this is a very loose translation. There's a Jing Si aphorism that says, 走路要轻，怕地会痛. Tread gently or walk gently or step gently, for our Mother Earth can feel each step we take. Or another word that we say is that tread gently, for each step that we take will be felt by the earth. So however you want to translate it, how is it possible, okay, that the Mother Earth will feel? I mean, the first question we ask is, are you sure that the earth itself can feel the step that we take? That's the first question that we usually ask. But the second question that I would ask, because there's no way that we can verify the answer to the first question. But the second question that I would ask is, well, how would Master know that the earth can feel the step that we take? And this goes back to the previous question. The question was, well, how would the Buddha be on the same wavelength as the universe? Well, how would Master be able to feel how the earth feels, or how the other animals feel, or how the other everything feels? That's what the question boils down to. It's not whether these other things can feel or not. It's how do we feel what others feel. And it goes into empathy. It goes into empathy that because Master is so greatly compassionate that the Master can feel the way that the others can feel. So to empathize is to empathize, to get in the same feeling as other people. So, I empathize what you're going through means that I feel what you're going through. Perhaps it's because I had the same experience. Perhaps because we experienced this together. Perhaps it's because I might not have the same experience, but I'm so open to what you are feeling that I feel it too. It's like someone next to you is so happy. When your heart is open, you're not close to what the other people is sending you. Then your heart is open. Then you can feel the happiness as if it's yours. And you become happy yourself too. On some way, that's called wavelength being together, or the brainwave are together. But on some way, it's as simple as the willingness to open, to receive those signals. So something that Master always says, and it still lingers on everybody's mind, is Master says, use your eyes to listen, use your ears to see. How do we do that? How do we do that? It means, are you willing to open your heart, to use your eyes, to go beyond what the eyes can do? If we are trapped in thinking that our eyes can only see, and our nose to smell, and our ears to listen, then we can only do just that. But are we ready to open our hearts, open our mind, so that our eyes can see and beyond? It can listen too. It can do more than just see, but it can listen. Or our ears can more than just listen. It can also see. And I share with many people how this can be done. A lot of times, we hear somebody's voice, and we don't need to see them, and we can already understand. We can already know and envision what it feels like, right? We can listen. We hear the sound, okay? We hear the sound of Master saying, 多用心. And right away, we hear the sound of saying 多用心, but in our mind, an image of Master shows up. So even though what came to us was only the sound, but in our mind, we can already see the same idea. Far away, we see an image of Master. Right away, our ears beginning to hear what Master tells us the teachings are. So there's no sound, but you hear it because you simply see. So that's why you are looking, but you can see, and you can hear, and you can smell, and you can feel. And all of that because you open your heart. And all of that because you can step on the ground, and you can feel as if we have to tread lightly, because just like if somebody's stepping onto me, I would feel the pressure. The earth would feel the pressure too. So same idea. Is it because of meditation? Is it because of Jing Si? Is it because of many things? I don't know. But from what Master showed us, from what Master shared with us, it seems like it might not be meditation. It might not be Jing Si. All it is open your heart to receive, to accept what others are giving out. When we are more accepting, then we will be on the same wavelength as many things. So I don't know if it means that we need to meditate and then get into that trancing state, or we have to Jing Si, or can we simply receive all the things around us is giving to us. And so that is the same idea as turning consciousness or knowledge into wisdom, turning our eyes, what our eyes can see, into wisdom. That's just knowledge. This is green, that is blue, this is a table, this is a computer. That's knowledge. But how can we turn that into something more? Yes, it's an object that is made by many, many people putting their effort together. And it's made by the minerals that were mined from the earth. And it was very rare. And therefore, we had to cherish it. That's wisdom. That is how we look at things. Not just, oh, this is hard, this is soft, this is silver, this is blue, and this is good, this is bad, this is useful, and this is garbage. No, something more, and that's wisdom. So Master has always been talking about doing something more than just what we see. Okay, so I'm going to talk about getting old, but the next question. So we're going down the questions, and we're going to go through them one by one. So Master says, sometimes it's not easy to explain Buddha's principles with words. The teaching was also beyond words. On occasion, Buddha showed the lotus flower to Dajia, Venerable Kasyapa, and with no word to describe what Buddha wants, the Venerable looked at Buddha and then he cried. I'm not sure if he cried or he smiled. I'm not sure, but he did something, okay? And he did something. And the important thing is, he did something because he think he knew something. And the Buddha saw that he did something, knew that he knew something, okay? So that's once again, he did something. He cried or he smiled, I'm not sure. But he did something to show that he knew something, okay? But second part is, the Buddha saw he did something. He cried or he smiled. And the Buddha knew that he knew, okay? So once again, how do we know that the earth felt the steps? And how do we know that the master felt the earth felt the steps? Same idea. How do we know that the Venerable knew something? And how do we know that the Buddha, and how did the Buddha just see that and knew that he knew something? Once again, open your hearts. It's not just about cry or smile. It's not about the words. It's more than about that, because it can never be explained by the words. Okay? So, is it something that can be explained at the same wavelength? Once again, it's talking about the wavelength, right? So the idea goes back to this. The idea goes back to getting old. If I tell you, okay, I can't tell you because we're probably in the same age group, right? But if somebody who is more, who has gotten more years than we, who has more years than we are, right? They would tell you all the things about getting old, like your eyesight is failing, right? Your hearing is failing, right? Your strength, your stamina isn't what it used to be, and they have to be very careful walking slowly, not falling down, and etc. You telling me that in words, I would understand the words, but I would not smile or cry because I don't understand it. I would know the words that you say, but I would not understand what getting old means until I get old myself, until I begin to hold the things not this close, but this far. That's when I realize, yes, I know what you're talking about now. So when somebody in my age group tells me, Joe, once that you're past the age of 40, you will begin to understand the metabolism isn't what it used to be. No matter how little you eat, you're just going to grow fat. And you know what? When he says that, I'm just going to smile or I'm just going to cry. It's the same idea. The Buddha is going to say, hey, once you pass age of 40, your eyesight begins to fail and you cannot see things this close. You have to hold this far. I would cry because you got me. You understand me. You know what I'm going through. It's the same idea. So what does that mean? It means you can't explain these things with words, because before we get there, we would just be like, yeah, I know. But no, I don't really know. You can tell me all of that until one day I wake up and I realize, oh my goodness, I need to look at things with this way to realize that my eyesights are failing too. And that's the same idea, okay? That's the same idea. The reason why many of these things cannot be explained through words, it's because we haven't gotten there yet. So we don't know. It's the same idea as getting old. It's the same idea of having the joy of seeing your child being born. You can tell me the joy, and I would understand what you're telling me, but I would not understand the joy itself because I haven't gotten that feeling. I don't know how it feels. Just like the joy that Master says, it's that when one day she was praying to the sutra, and 晋级清晨自玄虚末 just came over to her. She knew. She was trying to explain the feeling, but we would not understand the feeling. We can repeat the words, but we would not understand how that feel goes until we ourselves feel it. And that's the same idea that Master always says. That's why in Tzu Chi, it's not about talking. You can repeat the same words that other people say, but if you don't do it, it will just remain as words. It's not yours. So how do you turn knowledge into wisdom? Simple. Do it. Believe it and do it, and you will be able to understand. So you will be able to cry or you'll be able to smile, just depending on just by doing. So same thing. There's a statement from the Buddha that says, do not trust what he says, but to experience the nature Buddha, the natural Dharma. In the sutra, it also mentioned deep faith. So to clarify, the words are necessary because it sets as a guideline. Somebody tells you, you have to be careful when you're driving. Don't drive too fast. That's planting the seed in your head. To be safe, you have to drive slowly. So when you're driving fast on one day, the seed is already in you to tell you, now you're driving fast. You've never gone through this before, but you already knew something dangerous might happen. So you will be more alert and you will be more prepared to react. And that's what this is important. So the words themselves don't fully explain what it means, but it serves as a guideline. It serves as something that will help to guide you so that when you are there, you are not helpless. You are not like, oh, I've never been here before. Yes, you have, because somebody explained the situation to you before. And if you take it to heart, then you will be prepared to handle whatever that comes by. So what was said, it's not complete, but it serves as something to guide you when you experience it for yourself. So yes, it's true that we need what the Buddha said, but we also need to experience it. But the experience itself is incomplete without somebody guiding you along the way. And that's what we need both. Somebody to tell you and you do it yourself. You need both. Otherwise, you'll be in the blind. You'll just be closing your eyes, feeling all the things around you. You don't even know what you're feeling. Somebody, the voice there to guide you is very important. So I'm going to go very quickly to go through some of the questions. Why are there verses from other sutra, other than Lotus Sutra, in Master's morning wisdom at dawn when Master is sharing Lotus Sutra? And I wanted to finish today with this question, and the other ones we will leave to next week, or Sister Xiaoqing can help to respond as well. So this one I want to finish is that, so Master actually has shared this with us before. Out on the river, right? Out on the river, the water that you take from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, are they the same? They might be different because the temperature, depending on how long the river is and all of that, it might be different. But it all share the same characteristic. It all has the same source. It all has the same origin. So, same idea. When the Buddha was preaching, I believe, because I'm not Buddha, so I don't really know at the time. I wasn't, I don't remember, or I wasn't there 2,500 years ago, so I can't tell you what exactly happened. But throughout all the river of time that passes through, the Buddha himself was preaching, was teaching, expounding the Dharma according to the capacities of the people, according to what was necessary. It wasn't something like, today, lesson 1, I'm going to do this. Lesson 2, I'm going to do this. Lesson 3, I'm going to do this. This is elementary school for the first 6 years. And then middle school is going to be 3 years. And then three years is going to be college. And then 3 years is going to be high school. And 4 years is going to be college. For the Buddha, a lot of it was trying to use different ways to get us to see the things that we already have. So there are different ways. Sometimes you need to knock Sometimes you need to brush. Sometimes you just need to blow it away. Whatever it is, he was using different ways and different times. Therefore, right now in Lotus Sutra, it's sort of the king of all sutra. It's trying to put all of it together, to put all the experiences that we have learned together. So it's the same as now that we are learning calculus, but we still need to know how to add and subtract. It's calling upon the other operations that we have learned from previous lessons here, because we need to use all of it together, because all of it, it's the same. It's part of the same river. And therefore, don't be surprised if Master uses the different teachings from different places, because the Dharma is the same. It's the same river. You can't say that I'm only taking the water from here. Well, if the river flows this way, what was already there, it's going to flow down. It's going to be here too. So how do you know that I'm getting the water from here? It wasn't the water from there. It's the water only from this point. You can't. This is the idea. The Dharma itself is just like water. You can't say, I'm only going to take this part and not this part. It's the same water. You can't say, oh, I'm only going to get it from here and not from here. It's the same water. So that is why Master talks about the same teaching, whether it's from this sutra or that sutra. But at this moment, Lotus Sutra is the main focus, because in there is a lot of things that we need to learn. But the whole thing is the same. The Dharma is just like water. It's all there. Okay. So that's my sharing for today. Yes, it's mostly about turning consciousness into wisdom. It's mostly about turning questions into answers, and hopefully getting more people to see that, having these questions is wonderful. It gets us to try to answer, and in answering, it actually gets us to think more. And I'm sure there are other answers. There are other ways to explain this, and I'm more than willing to open to more. But before that, I definitely invite all of us to think more about the questions themselves and how it applies to me, to ourselves as well. Okay? So thank you, and that's my sharing for today. We'll now turn to other centers for sharing. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning, Brother Joe and all the masters. I wanted to share the beginning, how I find difficulty in attending Shin Fa Xiang. That was in end of year 2015. When I was asked to attend Shin Fa Xiang, I rejected outright due to the early hours. Because at 4:30, that means I have to leave my home at 4:30 a.m. Because of security reasons, and also the fear in me driving alone in the early hours. One of the reasons. Second is that because I attended once, I could not understand the language, and I find it very weird. Why come all the way to this place, Jing Hall, to listen to something? You can watch it over on TV, right? So I was very egoistic against coming to attend Shin Fa Xiang. But then I didn't give up. I did not know why. I didn't give up. I told myself the next day while I was on my way, if the traffic light, there's a series of traffic lights to go through before I reach this place. This place, is technically a new place for me, a new location. So I do not know the way to come to this place. So I counted the number of traffic lights that I need to go through, the number of bumps that I need to cross over to reach this place in the beginning. So I told myself that if the traffic light turned green, I will move on. And really, the first day, the first traffic light green, so I continue. Second traffic light, I tell myself again, if green, if red, I turn back. Second traffic light turned green again, so I move on. And then at the third traffic light, it was red already. I find myself that I could not turn because it's a one-way street, right? So I continue to this place. And I spent the first day I came, I felt sleepy and I give up. Then I tell myself that, oh no, I will never come again to this Shin Fa Xiang. After a while, I dropped off I dropped off, and then some sisters noticed me that I didn't, and encouraged me to come again. Then I told them no, because I have my best sleeping hours is at 4 o'clock. How could I tell them, how could I come at 4:30? And then my parents, my relatives doesn't allow me to drive alone at night. Because while I was driving that first day, I was looking around, fearing the motorbikes around, other cars around. I fear because of security reason, they might drop me or whatever, something happened to me. How can I get help? So that's why I procrastinate. I don't want to come. Then in October 1st, I was asked to try out this for 21 days. So I go according to a plan. On the 10th day, I was sick, but I still come. I do not know why. I just tell you, just my beginning of Xin Fa Xiang. And I got sick, I still overcome. And I think on the 11th day, 12, 13, 14, I marked my calendar until the 21st, then I break through 21st. Even though I was very sick, shaking, dizzy, I still come. After 21 days, I find there's something different, that I'm able to break through, able to understand a word or two, like that you will come back to this world after you pass away. Or that something struck me, you see, because I always attend church before that. Church never tell us that, the church that I attended, they never tell you that you can come back. It just tell you that you don't have sins once you are being baptized. All your sins are washed away. But then I find it very funny that morning, why Master was saying that you will come back after you pass away. And in whatever form you are, we do not know. Not that interested. That I have interest in that. But talking about the beginning of how I come to Xin Fa Xiang, I met some problem. About 2 weeks down the road, I have somebody blocked my car in the early hours. Then I said, there again, you see? I said, don't go for Xin Fa Xiang because the security wise, right? So this car was blocking me all the way. But I find something very different during then, after the effect. I did not panic. I was just wondering why this car was moving so slow and blocking me. I go left, right, middle, he blocked. So I thought he was having some problem with the car. Okay. So after that, eventually I passed through, and I gave myself reason that I do not want to come again, because that incident happened on a Saturday. So tomorrow, Sunday, will be even more quiet. I find it even more quiet. So I give myself the reason, say that, no, I will not come to attend Xin Fa Xiang. Even though I already break through the 21 days, so I told myself no. But then, after a while, the next morning, I do not know, I wake up again, auto wake up, then I came. So this led me to attend Xin Fa Xiang in a way that I find that there's something that changed me. Why I'm so calm, it interests me. Why I'm so calm during that incident, that panic, why I panic. So I was wondering, maybe because during Xin Fa Xiang, I was listening to the master, he gives some insight, right? This is my first, my beginning of Xin Fa Xiang. And I was sitting at the back for about half a year, only half a year, not obeying anything, listening to why we come back, why. Then I heard something one morning saying that, because actually when I come to Tzu Chi, I do not know it's Tzu Chi, I do not know it's Master. So there's one morning, I heard Master say that you keep on moving, don't stop. If you stop, you will find it very difficult to come back again. Don't turn back. So I was wondering, what was she saying that? Why was she saying? So immediately after 6:20, as usual, I will always leave for home, right? But that morning didn't. I went to experiment exactly what the master said. Walk in the dark, walk through. I walked through. And what master has been saying, that as you walk along, the two on the left and your right, you will feel fear. You will be frightened, and you will always think of turning back. And that was exactly what happened to me that morning. I walked out of this location, this Tingsu Hall. Then I start to believe that every morning that I came for those Xin Fa Xiang, I start to believe what the master had been saying. Because of that experiment, I went all the way out of Xingsi Hall with nothing, fearing, and I don't know which direction. So in my heart was saying that, why just now the master was saying, it's exactly happening, happening to me. So I tend to believe, and ever since I start to attend Xin Fa Xiang every morning, because I do not know, I need to find out all this curiosity. Year 2016, February, I think that happened, there's a Chinese New Year I attended, and there was an earthquake in Thailand. And I was very, being new to Tzu Chi, I do not know why the master came out in the morning and was saying, praying and all that, and telling us what happened. And then that was also this breaking point in me. Why master at that age come out so early to tell us there's an incident that happened? So during that Thailand earthquake at the time, I continue all my Xin Fa Xiang because I find that it changed me to a better person. Even though I may not understand fully, I only understand 10%, I keep on attending. Until, and I enjoy it later. 2016, I was in Tianxi, and then 2017 in Beijing. What I learned from this Xin Fa Xiang is that it transformed me, my bad habits, temperamental, then I'm at ease. How, for example, people come to tell me that, come to tell me and ask me that, why you're not angry just now? I was speaking so wild, so back to you, I was practicing all these things, what Master says, that you're bound to meet unfavorable circumstances when you face with people, interaction with people. These are very normal. So I always, out of curiosity, I always experiment whatever I heard during the Xin Fa Xiang, right? And it transformed me. And I don't understand, okay, I just want to stop here, this about Xin Fa Xiang. I want to tell people, inform you guys that along the way, the Xin Fa Xiang, the numbers of Xin Fa Xiang who attend Xin Fa Xiang dropped in Jingsu Hall. Those regular that I used to see dropped. And one day, I think last few months back, there's this sister. She was saying that she couldn't understand Xin Fa Xiang. She's a Chinese educator. She couldn't understand, and she said she also out of pressure that people ask her encouragement, people ask her to come. So she come and drop off. Then I suddenly tell her, I told her, I shared with her that, why not do you know about the bamboo bank? I asked her, do you know the bamboo bank? She said, yes, we know the bamboo bank. So I told her that, for me, I don't know anything, but I transform my negative thoughts. How I transform my negative thoughts into positive thoughts is by applying this bamboo bank out one day. Actually, the bamboo bank history we all know, but I did not practice it out until 6 months back. I was asked, I got this transformation when I put in the coin. I mentioned something like, Master, I will follow you. Master, please bless the world. Let everybody be happy that I drop another coin. Why I'm telling this bamboo, everybody might be thinking that bamboo bank, all of you know. Because for me, I'm very stingy. I've been doing donation here and there. So by dropping this one, I find that it's too very petty, too small an item. So when I tried in the beginning, when I know about Tzu Chi's history, I tried. But a few days later, I opened the bamboo bag, I use the money. I take the money out and I use it because I find that it's so troublesome. So I stopped there for 1.5 years, the bamboo bag. Until recently, I continue putting in that I say in my own way. All those words like follow master, let the Dharma knowledge be with me. So I dropped one coin. Little do I know that I started one day. The second day, I try to remember to put in again. Usually I'll put one coin, and always I'll choose the smallest coin on the table because I'm too stingy to put in. right? Then later, third day, fourth day, I find that when I put in 4-5 coins. Why? Why do I put 4-5 coins? Because one coin I say one word, second coin I say another word. So I share with this sister who dropped in and out of Xin Fa Xiang. I told her, that's how I begin to understand more about Xin Fa Xiang, the Dharma, what's Dharma. So she shared with me, she immediately that day, she went back. She did the same thing. She did the same thing and she was dropping the coins inside the bamboo bank and she said the same thing in Chinese. 生生世世 follow master. So I didn't know anything about that until the next morning we came back from Xin Fa Xiang, chapter 17, right? She came. She shared with us and said that, hi, Edwin, I think I will follow Xin Fa Xiang every day because you taught me that, you shared with me that method of putting in the coins. And I find that this morning when I attended the Xin Fa Xiang, I can understand what Master tried to say. So she shared with us, and I was happy that how come this small little act of mine that initially I was quite reluctant can help another person to bring her back to Xin Fa Xiang. So I can understand that in myself, I believe that Xin Fa Xiang transformed me, but I never know that Xin Fa Xiang can also, when you share with others, it can also inspire them or instill the courage and enforce the belief and faith in them to come back to Xin Fa Xiang. So ever since this sister, few months back, 3 months back, I think, after immediate Xin Fa Xiang, she will call us for a 5-minute sharing. Before that, she will leave immediately or she never turned up for Xin Fa Xiang. That's what she shared with us. Because through this small sharing after Xin Fa Xiang, I joined the Xin Fa Xiang in Chinese, 520. So she will ask a group of people, 2 people also she promised she'll pull me around, say, if you come and share just now what Master had mentioned. So I just pull a chair and sit. So you see, from her not having interest, and then now she's very, very diligent in following Xin Fa Xiang because of this bamboo bank history, how she put in the coin. But for me, I want to share about this bamboo bank is another part for myself. Usually, we learn Dharma. My usual self is that I seek for something. 2.5 years ago, either you seek for more money, you seek for more help, or you can travel more, go to other country, right? But after when I was practicing this dropping the coins inside, I suddenly realized that I cannot even say something about for myself. I cannot say something like, bless me, today I'm sick, I'm not feeling well. I never say that. I keep on saying that, Master, I follow Master, all those, the 4 great ones. Then I suddenly thought that, my thought of the usual negative thought, how come it becomes so positive? I'm trying to ask myself for something for today, something for myself, benefit for myself. I cannot find the words when I was dropping the coin. And I shared with my other sister saying that this is the impact, this is the greatness of Xin Fa Xiang. If you follow diligently, you not only, usually you want to benefit yourself, but later I find that it didn't, I no longer can find reason to find good things like, to benefit myself, more for the common people, right? Another incident that I want to share is that I'm very particular. In the beginning, when I know Tzu Chi, I was in Tzu Chi, I don't really know Tzu Chi, so I'm asked to go to do some work at the kitchen. Going into the kitchen, my first time, and people looking at me very weird. They didn't say anything. What it gave me that kind of look is that, why are you here? So that they give me, that was about 1.5 years ago, makes me like want to leave. But then I was there, so I'm just standing there waiting for something to do. Nobody asked me to do anything. And just after someone, there are many people, and then they say, okay, you wash this and wash that. So when I wash this can, this can, those canned food or what, something like that is can. So they asked me to wash, and it was very oily. So I washed according to what the sister tells me. Then I find that another sister come and tell me, why you wash this? Who asked you to do this? That was very surprised. So inside my heart then, that was the in the beginning that I did not attend Shin Fa Xiang regularly at the time, in the beginning when I know Tzu Chi. So I tend to be very angry. And I walk out of the place and just throw away my apron. Because I do this also not correct, do that also not correct, and then they ask you, who asked you to come? Yeah, I thought, no, it doesn't your, in my heart, it doesn't you people encourage people to do good things or whatever, not in my thoughts. So I walk out 10 minutes, just put away the apron. Then after 1-2 weeks later, this was early days, 2016. So another incident, another sister called me, can you help out at the kitchen? I said, oh no. Kitchen is not my place. Then I said, please help out at the bakery there. So I went to do. I saw people crowding and doing those dumpling, I think, those buns, you know. So I went to help. Then I went in, tried to help. All the people stopped and looked at me. So I asked myself why. I didn't ask them. I was very soft. So I said, I just try to do something. Nobody asked you, they would just stop practically. Maybe I now, if I were to reflect back, maybe my face are very arrogant, very fierce. Nobody there to tell me what to do. So I thought that way, right? So this after a series of Shin Fa Xiang, 2.5 years later, my recall. So when I try to do the thing, this sister tell me too hard, too soft. And then there's someone query me, you never do kitchen work at home? Then I look at them. I said, I didn't answer because they speak in Chinese, so I just do. Then I said, and one sister even showed me how to do it, how to knead the flour and all that. So I do it accordingly, yet she said no good. And there again, I just walk out, don't want. So I do not want to go into kitchen work. Any activity, Tzu Chi activity, I fear kitchen. I fear living. I really fear. But then this time around, when we went back to, even up to commissioning last year, November. So we are asked to do some volunteer work, right? So I waited there, please don't let me go to kitchen. In my heart, I was saying, anything I can do, but not kitchen. So I waited everybody go and just sign up their name at that time. But this time around, when I went back with the English group, when Sister Wan Jing Khan tells me, can you go to the kitchen? I find myself saying that, oh, this time is different. This time is different. I just say, okay, now go. Why? Why this transformation? Because of Shin Fa Xiang. Shin Fa Xiang helps me to transform from impossible to possible, from negative to positive. You know? And I find myself, I went to the kitchen and I said, oh my God, there's a big, all the potato, big and small, that I haven't done before. How? But I find that I'm more settled down this time. Just watch and see how that I do it accordingly, quietly. You know, so that this is one big changes in me. And another thing that I want to share with brothers and sisters is that why Shin Fa Xiang? Why a person like me who doesn't know English, who doesn't know how to read, who doesn't know how to speak Chinese, continue for 2.5 years Shin Fa Xiang, and I appreciate Shin Fa Xiang until today. I love it. Before that, I rejected because I find that no one's. I find that no one able to guide you. It's because we don't have, maybe because of the affinity. Now we know what is affinity. I know what is affinity. Maybe because of the environment, the affinity, the people, or maybe the most important. I think the most the culprit in me is that my ego. Myself is with myself. I keep on thinking I, right? Now I cannot think of I don't even think of I do whatever I can. Anybody asks, I just do, and I learn a lot. It's true, this Shin Fa Xiang here, I would like to encourage brother and sister to give it a try, because many of the people that I observe, that before that, they've been dropping out 10 years. They told me 10 years. I was so surprised. They said they're 10 years in Shin Fa, 10 years in Tzu Chi. They've been Shin Fa Xiang ever since it started, and they dropped out here and there. So I was very surprised that I'm Chinese educated. I joined the Chinese group, so they tell me that I was here 10 years ago. So I don't understand what Master was saying just now. Just feel chapter 17. I'm just sharing the most recent one. So when we sat down with this sister, 3-4 of us, so we share our part, and he find that very interesting. They said, oh yeah, then he continued to sit down and share the 5 minutes with us every day whenever he comes for Xin Fa Xiang. So this is something different. I'm sorry, time's up. So I'm very grateful to be able to share my experience in Xin Fa Xiang, hoping that everybody can take the opportunity, because sometimes when you want to do something, you find that you are ready to do something, but the thing is not ready for you. Just like I have encountered this before, but I have no time to share with you some other time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Effie, for that wonderful sharing. And we see the ups and downs. Okay, we see definitely the effects of Xun Fa Xiang, and we also see how. Do you want to say difficult or do you want to say easy? But definitely the journey itself is definitely very fruitful. It's not exactly the result, because the result is actually the accumulation of the entire process. But we definitely see the journey, and we're very happy with you that throughout the years of Xun Fa Xiang, you begin to reflect. You see from yourself that yes, you are changing, but also not fast enough, or also you're still getting all these afflictions, and whether it's in the kitchen or whether it's doing something else, something that still bothers us, something that the affliction is still there. And I think it's very, very real. When other people tell you, if other people tell you that you should come because you're going to change, well, see, the thing is this, changing or not, at least it gives us something that prepare ourselves. Okay, so it's like learning CPR. Learning CPR isn't so that you can run around helping and giving people CPR. It's that when there is a need, you just might remember your training and you just might be able to save someone. But does that mean that for anyone that learned the CPR will have the opportunity? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that everyone that learned the CPR will get to save someone. It doesn't mean that. It just means that we are more prepared. Xun Fa Xiang gets you prepared. Whether you can use it, it's up to you. Whether you can apply it, that's still up to you. Xun Fa Xiang isn't the silver bullet. It's not magical. It's not something that you come and you shall change. No, it doesn't. It's still up to you. So all that the Buddha did was open the door, show you the way, open the door. You yourself have to walk it. So Sister Effie, let me tell you that yes, Xun Fa Xiang has its power, but the power all belongs to you. You change on your own. You change because you are willing to. You change because you know it's the right thing to do. Xun Fa Xiang just provides the way to help you do that. But you yourself made it possible. And that's what intrinsic Buddha nature is. That's the thing in us that makes it possible. The words, the experiences lead you and guide you. And Buddha or Master's words open the way and show you the path. We are the one that walk through. The one that walk through, it's called the Buddha nature. And the thing that shows up, it's the intrinsic Buddha nature. So once again, thank you, Sister Effie, for your sharing. And we are a little bit over time. And there's still a lot of questions that I'd like to go through, but we can probably go through that next week. It's some of the very interesting ones that I didn't go through today. So once again, thank you, everybody. And I'm sure everybody's very busy. I think there's a lot of charity things going on today. So we'll end here. And once again, thank you, everyone. And I hope to see all of you next week again. And we're going to have a very, very happy week. And until next week, thank you. Bye-bye.